First, in this story, Tamaki and Deathscythe do a competition where their opponents are Maka and Haruhi, and this competition is washing cars.
This is both gentlemen's favorite competition, though it upsets the Deathscythe that his daughter is participating for obvious reasons. But they do their best to pick out the loveliest swimsuits for both girls, Deathscythe having his made with frills for his daughter because she is such a little girl. Haruhi in something more scantily clad, though it amounts to pretty much nothing since she's flat as a board. So, what cars do they have? They find a Porsche and a Ferrari in the downtown lot of a chop shop run by Dr. Stein. He has a chop shop. And they take them both out into the bright sunny day, gather their soap and hoses and sponges, and get ready for some good old-fashioned fun.
Switch.
As they're washing the Porsche, Tamaki suddenly realizes what Deathscythe put his daughter in, and runs over there, spilling all the dirty soap in the bucket all over the Porsche, and the owner comes out yelling at them. But Tamaki ignores it because he needs to put a large, oversized sweatshirt on his daughter. She just groans and says, "Dad, look what you did to the car." And he's like, "But I can pay for it. It's all right, my dear. As long as the guys can't look at you." You know,
Switch.
Maka, still mad at her father, wonders why. He just screams, "Maka!" As Tamaki is swooning over both girls, both in their swimsuits. What's not for a host to love of two pretty young girls in swimsuits? As Deathscythe and Tamaki both go over to a boombox, arguing what music to put on. Finally, Tamaki decides on a track and starts playing Soap and Hose.
Switch.
Properly covered his daughter, stumbles across an idea. He tells Maka that would greatly shame her school to lose this competition, and she has to do her best to win against that boy girl. So, Maka takes this assertion very seriously and calls upon Sol to help her wash this car because it's that freaking hard. And so Sol and Maka transform into scythes and use Witch Hunter to get all the dirt off the car, forgetting the soap in the process and splitting the car in two. But it is clean. Haruhi sees this and knows that she's up against some serious stuff, and so she scrubs as hard and furiously as she can with all her training as taking care of the house for her transvestite daughter, or father.
Switch.
One exercise, seeing how he's working so hard, comes over and decides to help her. She just blinks at him lazily, saying, "I don't need help." And so she scrubs and scrubs the car, and without realizing it, she has almost fallen asleep and has scrubbed a hole through the car. And Tamaki runs over, and he just blinks at her and says, "That's not how you wash cars." Yeah. And then he brings a broom and accidentally smashes all the windows in the car. And the people that thought of the car wash decide they're not good at washing cars. So they send them to clean the buckets that the other team of Deathscythe and his daughter are using to wash the car.
Switch.
Though it was Tamaki's fault for the second destroyed car, he still blames it on Haruhi, being the president of the club and being able to do that. He increases her fine that she has to work off to double what it is now, enraging her and making her chase after him, even though they are supposed to be washing the buckets of the other two. As Deathscythe, Sol, and Maka all mourn over the loss of the beautiful and expensive car that they have just split in two, even though it is still clean.
Switch.
So Dr. Stein has a marvelous idea seeing the two broken cars. He's going to fuse them together into a wonderful monster car with giant wheels and nails sticking out of it, and he's just going to use this for his own fun, terrorizing Deathscythe, driving him down, yelling catcalls at him when he sees him on the street. gets wind of this idea and decides he has to put a stop to Dr. Stein. And so he tells Maka that he plans to fail her at the next course, even though she hasn't taken the test yet.
Switch.
Maka goes insane and tells Dr. Stein to do the idea and to kill Deathscythe, even though he's her father, because she really wants to pass that course. She wants to be the smartest one around. And so Dr. Stein continues forward with his idea, but he doesn't realize that on that car that was broken in two, Tamaki, laying on the hood of it, being fancy.
Switch.
Seeing this, Dr. Stein now realizes he has to make a fancy monster car, incorporating Tamaki into the car. This car will be both ferocious and terrifying and suave with the ladies. Still wanting to do cat calls at Deathscythe, Dr. Stein decides not to kill him, though he can somehow, weirdly in his mind, envision Deathscythe wearing drag as he drives down the street.
Switch.
So he decides to sever Haruhi's head and fuse it into the car in place of a horn, because she has such a lovely voice. Unfortunately, this doesn't work out so well for poor Haruhi, and Tamaki comes to her rescue in a blaze of roses and glory. Haruhi! And he falls flat on his face, and Haruhi gets her head chopped off anyway. Well, Dr. Stein continues with his plan of driving down the street, but he can't seem to find Deathscythe anywhere, and he's getting very hard up on his cat calls because all he sees are children and the hookers from the local singing shop. I don't know what that thing.
Switch.
So while Dr. Stein is looking for Deathscythe, suddenly a bunch of people start to crowd his car, saying, "Whoa, that should be illegal. Why isn't that illegal?" And as he tries to use his horn, he realizes it doesn't work with his car. He just lets it aboard. Oh, God. And nobody hears it.
Switch.
Pressing down harder on the horn to get more of a ooga than normal. He slams down on the horn as hard as he can, releasing a loud, ear-piercing meh. This meh, being so apathetic, yet so loud at the same time, attracted Deathscythe's ears. Deathscythe was chasing down Blair at the time. Blair, being a cat, escaped into the trash, and Deathscythe, being too fabulous for anyone but himself and Maka, decides, I don't want to go in that trash. He hears this mess, that's music to his eardrums, goes out, and screams as he sees Dr. Stein in his car, his monster, creepy, swab with the lady's car.
Switch.
Dr. Stein idles in his car as Deathscythe screams. He shifts into fourth gear, presses on the gas, and as he drives down Deathscythe, he yells, "I'm gonna switch your toes!" And he misses. He swerves into a building, and the car splits into a perfect two, Haruhi's head rolling away from the wreckage.
Switch.
Tamaki grabs up Haruhi's head and runs away with it to live happily ever after. And Deathscythe turns himself to his side because he does not want to get run over or his toes switched. That would be really bad. And everybody knows that scythes don't have toes. Do they? So, the car still being split in two. The car wash is a complete failure.
Switch.
After waking up in the hospital, 1 month later after the coma that was caused by his devastating car crash, Dr. Stein rips off the hospital blanket, stands up, and he looks down. His toes are switched. Horrified that his own trick has worked against him, he vows to hunt down Deathscythe, though he knows he cannot. Because who would fear a man with switched toes? No man fears that man.
Switch.
He finds Deathscythe in the usual spot, drinking liquor with ladies, and he pummels him severely. But he discovers that Deathscythe was not the one who switched his toes. Deathscythe was too drunk to do this, and he does not have any scissors. It turns out it was Maka who switched Deathscythe's toes, or Dr. Stein's toes, in vengeance for him planning to flunk her on the test.
Switch.
He goes up to Maka, planning to give her a severe beating or something of the sort, but she's too little to do that. Though she just laughs at him because of his switched toes. And everybody else starts laughing because they're in a park, and... and he gets
So-
laughed out of the park. Because he has switched toes.
Switch. Give it a good ending.
Realizing that his daughter has done to Stein what Stein once swore to do to Deathscythe, Deathscythe reaches for Maka, lifts her up in the air, spinning around yelling, "Maka!" As he sets her down, they both fall to the ground. Wearing flip-flops because it is summer, both their shoes fly off, pairing with one another neatly beneath their feet. Deathscythe looks down, and his toes are also switched. Maka got him too for wanting her to fail the test. Bad dad.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Maka lives
great.
happily ever after, no toes switched.
What was that?
I said Maka lives happily ever after, no toes switched.
Okay.